was from
Can you,
me, but we did it together.
Yeah, there was it was at the Democratic thing that we all did together. Look over at it. This is just their,
now, does everybody have a pen and paper?
I understand. But look what they're saying.
Anybody needs to want to write down questions, we want to get you some pen and paper. Okay,
I'm Jeff.
City Councilman Katie Jackson is the incumbent, and we're going to let her go first. Katie, you have 2 minutes to tell us a little about yourself, and
thank you, George. Thank you for the invitation to come to the forum. My name is Katie Jackson. I am your current Ward 1 City Council person, and I hope I can convince you that you should re-elect me to continue being your City Council person. For those of you in the audience who do not know me, I have a Bachelor of Physics. I have a Master's in Organizational Management. I brought a nuclear aircraft carrier availability in on time and under budget. I am eyeball deep in Texas legislature right now while still dealing with city issues. I have been instrumental in removing the eyesore on Young Street. I have ensured that the eyesore on Young Street, the nursing home, got torn down, which is now complete. The used to be drug house just 2 blocks this way on Pearl has been torn down. The eyesore on Water Street, the motel, has been torn down. I drove those buses, people. I made sure those got done. There's a lot of things coming, and you'll see these here in the near future. I love being a council person. I enjoy it. I really do. I didn't think I would, but I found out I'm like really good at it. Kind of, sometimes, mostly. So anyway, I really hope you decide to vote for me and that we can keep Ward 1 going in the direction it's going right now, which is bigger, better, stronger, and faster. Thank you.
Thank you. More people rezone.
Jim Godfrey, President of South Rockport Neighbors, and Smitty, the Vice President of South Rockport Neighbors, are going to ask the question. Meanwhile, Stephanie, you have 2 minutes to tell us a little bit about you.
Thank you. So yes, my name is Stephanie Rangel. I'm running for Rockport City Council person for Ward 1. Thank you for having me in attendance tonight and allowing me an opportunity to introduce myself. My husband and I have lived here in Rockport for a long time. We've raised our children here. We've invested ourselves into the community. A little bit about myself. I am the Director of Emergency Services at ER 24/7 Rockport. I have a master's degree in executive nursing leadership. Is that good? Thank you. Am I not loud enough? I could probably use it without it. You know, I've invested my entire career into the promotion and improvement of healthcare in this community, not just for now, but also for the future. My job requirements are not just clinical and operational, responsibilities of the facility, but, to strongly lead a team, providing advocacy to the people in which I produce within my service, and ensuring the needs of my staff are met in a timely and efficient manner. These consistent qualities of leadership have allowed me to maintain the highest employee satisfaction rate as well as engagement rate, lowest staff turnover recorded. This has been the driving factor for ER 24/7 to be ranked amongst the top 10% of freestanding emergency rooms nationwide within our system, both operationally as well as clinically. So, big achievements there. These are the same objectives that I'm going to make for the priority for the people of Ward 1. I will provide you with a true representative, always ensuring that your voices and your needs be heard and met. I will give you a leader, someone you can feel welcomed and acknowledged by, bringing your needs before the city and ensuring you always feel properly represented as well as well respected. I understand trust does not come from words, but instead comes from actions. I will bring you advocacy to this position, providing the people of Ward 1 the confidence of a trusted leader. I'm done, aren't I? That's okay, I'm in there, I'm confident with that.
All right, I believe we have several questions already collected. If you want to start reading the questions, now candidates, you're only going to have 2 minutes to answer these questions.
It's a long time.
They're spending money, so I'm not going to. If anybody has any more questions, they
We're still
just,
turning in questions, so we can't really ask them yet. But we have to read them first.
yeah, read the questions.
We have to look at them.
Oh, yeah. We're going to try our best not to duplicate any of these questions, because we want to get going pretty
Hey,
quickly.
did he announce that Tommy Moore was here?
No.
Candidate attached to Summers.
Oh, what?
How long was the candidate attached to Summers? Because you came out and began with 5.
3, well, they got 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. And at the end, they will have 2 minutes for a conversation.
Hey, George, we have in attendance tonight the Navigation District at large, Commissioner Tommy Moore over here.
Oh, I didn't see you. You're on to this. How did I miss you?
And we also have Pam Myers, who is the chairwoman of the Democratic Party here also.
All right.
Oh, and who else? Star. Oh, Colleen Harris, who is, and Larry, who are leaders in the Star group here in town.
And I'm here too. Okay. As soon as we can get started with the questions.
Hey, Chrissy, can you run this?
We will. You're sitting in the back forty. Okay, candidates, did you hear? If you please hold the microphone to your mouth so they can hear you in the back 40 over there. And we're ready whenever you're ready. Yes, this man wants to say something. He's from the district.
I'm Doug Webb, and I'm, as you actually allowed me, thank you, to be on the committee that did the charter review. And what I want to say about this is not a Democrat or Republican issue whatsoever. These are the rules that the citizens of Rockport, Texas are going to have to obey and live by. And so this is really, really important. And I have some questions that I'm going to ask both the ladies later when we get to that point. But it's just so important that we get people out to vote, because it's been said over and over by, I believe, Ms. Christie over here, that this is our Constitution. This is what we have to live by for the next 5 years. The last review, they're supposed to be done every 5 years. The last review was done 14 years ago. So a lot of things have changed in that length of time. A lot of the things that we talked about or looked at, we updated to be in compliance with the state of Texas laws. Others were things like to put it online instead of on the telegraph or whatever, because so long ago that it wasn't, online things weren't available to everyone. There's a lot of general things like that. There's some other really tough questions that we need to address. And I'm not allowed to do that at this time, but I will when I get my further questions. Thank you, George.
You're welcome. Okay, they need a little bit more time. There's a lot of more questions than we thought we would have. Okay. Now, don't forget, on May 15th is Police Officers Memorial Day. This is a picture from last year, you probably can't all see it, of the two chiefs of police from Aransas County and the sheriff in front of the memorial wreath that South Rockport Neighbors presented. And we're trying to get a whole lot of people there to show these officers that we do care. Officer Larry Sinclair, who is retired now, started, he had the police memorial services 1 year, 6 people showed up. So he quit. And that's when we took it up and started doing it for the police department. And it really worked out. And now Pam Farley, the owner of Tropical Smoothie Cafe, after the second year, first year I made meatball sandwiches. I was picking meatballs out of my fingers and everything for months. But we made 75 meatball sandwiches, and we fed the policemen. But now Pam Farley has given us about 6 big platters of sandwiches and wraps and everything from Tropical Smoothie every year, so that sure makes it a lot easier for us. We do supply the paper goods and of course all soda and chips and things like that. And we have a lot of members that bake, and every day I go down, or somebody will go down, because it's also Police Week. And so we go down and drop off a bunch of goodies every day at the police station. When we first started here, the police were very good and really appreciated us. Of course, I'm not saying they don't now, but I mean, we really, when we started South Rockport, there was hardly any full-time residents in South Rockport. They were all winter or vacation homes. And so there was lots of break-ins, lots of destruction and things going on in South Rockport. Cars were being stolen almost every night, and one was stolen right here from this bed and breakfast. And that's when the owners of the bed and breakfast said, that's it, we've had enough. So they told the police department, and the police department said, I'll give you some names of people to get a hold of, and maybe you can start a neighborhood watch group. So Jim's name and my name was on the list, and they called us, and we said, sure, we'll help out. And we did, out of our own money. We put ads in the paper and put flyers, went door to door, and we managed to notify, I think, everybody. We even got paid for the tax records so we could get all the owners from out of town, and told them about a meeting we were having here. And the first meeting we had over 200 people. We set another date for our second meeting, and we had over 200 people. And so that's when we chose the name South Rockport Neighbors, and and picked out our board of directors, and we
George,
can go and say.
these people are here to talk about the issues that are on.
I was waiting for these people.
I understand that, I understand that.
We're ready now, George.
Okay, two things. A while back, I was talking to the city manager at a city council meeting after the meeting, and he says, look, nobody cares about this thing that you're talking about. There was 40 people there. I said, well, I'm representing the other 9,960. But that's a heavy load. Everybody needs to come to these city council meetings, and we don't know what's on the city council meeting agenda until it's too late. They want us to know way ahead of time and talk to our ward members, and that's a really good idea, but many of us don't find out about something until just before the agendas, just before the meetings.
Yep.
And,
Okay, but we gotta get
okay,
started.
go for it.
All right, now we're going to get started with this, because if we want to get to any of the propositions, we got to get this going first. Okay.
We're going to alternate this because a lot of these questions are proposed to both the city council. So I'm going to ask Katie first if you would answer it, then Stephanie. What is your stance on extending the term for council and mayor to 4 years?
I do not have a position as a city council person on this until after the election is complete.
Stephanie?
Not true.
Thank you. So, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I actually, I do support an extension in the term limits. I think that term limits support diversity in these positions. I think I have to walk away just a little bit. It brings fresh ideas, a new perspective. It gives the people of each ward an opportunity to, if, things aren't going the way they need to, or they're not getting properly represented, to have that voice more often and more frequently. I don't think that we need more time to figure out a position. You better acclimate very quickly, just because the needs of the people within your ward are of utmost importance, and you don't have time to try to figure that job out. You better walk into it ready, feet on the ground.
Okay, we're alternating, so Stephanie, don't sit down. The new garbage plan will drive up our costs where the country club, where country club, Harbor Oaks, etc. will save money. How do you take this back to the council to rectify this? And it starts off here, there are no HOAs in South Rockport.
So ultimately, it's the best interest and the benefit of what's greatest for the people within the ward I represent. So everything I bring to that council will be in direct reflection and representation of the people within the ward that I am proposed to represent. That is my priority. You guys need a true representative, and we have to remind ourselves that when we go in front of the city council and negotiate anything with other council persons, you are a representation of the ward in which you hold that position. So, it's going to be, does this benefit my people? How does this benefit my people? And what risk does it bring to my ward? Ward 1, ma'am.
Okay, first of all, the public usually does a 4% adjustment every year up, and they are not doing that for the first year of this renewal. So nobody's going to pay any more than they did last year. Now, one of the things that we did is we did take away the exclusivity from Republic so that we could have a better market and more competition. Now that's kind of what we do, is market and competition. Your current city council does not believe in franchise or one person gets a contract forever. The current contract as written does allow for up to 40% of
residents to opt out total. And it's 4%, and it's going to happen every year no matter who we have. If we have coastal waste, we have frontier waste, we have Republican, it's going to be 4% increase every year. Now I will tell you that commercial is going up 10% this year and 10% next year. Commercial. So, I'm sorry I saved you guys a 4% increase this year.
Yeah.
Straight up. Sorry about that.
In this last budget, did you lower the tax rate?
In this last budget, did we lower the tax rate? Why, yes we did. By point. I cannot remember how much we lowered it by. It wasn't a whole lot, but it didn't go up. Now, everybody's issue is, well, the 9% and me saying whatever percent it was I was saying, and I'm sorry, I can't remember that right now. The 9% was the actual the tax levy. The levy is different than the tax rate. The rate is what we charge per $100 valuation from the appraisal value given to us by the tax assessor's office, which comes from the appraisal district. So, this last year, if your appraisal went up less than 3.71%, your tax rate went down. And if anybody wants to know, mine went up. Okay? Mine went up, and I do pay property taxes.
She can't answer that. She's not on the
No, it's her page. Here, go ahead, wait. This is proposal, y'all. Are you in favor of council meetings outside of Aransas County, such as the recent offsite in Fast Rock, and if so, why?
So no, I am a huge advocate and supporter of complete transparency. You know, we have to remind ourselves why we're placed in this position each and every time we make a decision for anything. So, you know, public input is extremely important. I don't think it should be restricted nor limited. And, you know, taking something and, you know, okay, so let's put it this way. Nothing good grows in the dark. Okay? Mm-hmm. Nothing good grows in the dark. We should have everything out, completely transparent to the people in which we represent. We should be communicating it to them prior to so they can have the utmost involvement. Their input should be wanted, embraced, encouraged. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to having any kind of closed meetings, I feel like we're doing it in injustice to the people in which we represent.
No. So I'm going to spend the next however much time going over the last 2 years of problems that the city has had, because it's obviously my fault. All right? So, at least that's what I've been told. The meeting in Bastrop was a duly called open meeting of the city council. In accordance with Open Meetings Act, Local Government Code 551. The only time the public is not allowed to be at a city council meeting is when we go to executive session, which we have to start in an open session, like the meeting we're having tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, where the agenda's already been out for 5 days. Was it right for us to go to Bastrop? Let me tell you why we went to Bastrop.
Yeah.
We went to Bastrop so we could work on the executive overview, the top level. Where do we want to go next? Those of you who've been around for a little while, and one of the reasons I initially ran for city council was there was no plan. Where do we go next? What are we driving for? And that's what we discussed. For those of you that have listened to the audio, that's what we discussed. We didn't make a damn decision at all. We gave direction to the city manager. We gave direction to the attorney that's representing us for the charter amendments, and a couple other things that we talked about. It was a duly called open meeting. We didn't have it here because we needed to be able to concentrate and talk. But it was a duly called open meeting in accordance with Local Government Code 551.
There were no consensuses?
Next question.
We got a question of a question, though. Wait a minute. The question was, are you in favor of doing that again?
Yes, good question. Thank you.
That was the question?
Yeah.
No, I got it again. Are you in favor of council meetings outside of Aransas County, such as the recent offsite in Bass Rock? And if so, why?
Yes. No. Wait, hang on. I'm not waffling. Was it wrong for us to go to Bass Trip? Nope. Can I answer the question, please?
Sorry, I was talking to him.
Well, then don't talk loud enough so I can hear. Thank you very much. Now, we shouldn't have gone to Bass Trip. It was a little far. And I'll roger up to that fact. It was already scheduled. It was already planned. Now, if we did that again, would I go to Portland? Yes. Portland would be okay, right? It's just down the road. We are in Texas. I'd go to Salem, 45 minutes down the road. Bass Trip was probably the wrong answer, and we've learned our lesson, and we're carrying on.
Why do you want to leave the town?
So, that's the past. Thank you very much.
Next question. What are your plans for ensuring that each intersection in South Rockport with an AEP pole has a street light as per city protocol? This is for both of y'all.
I have no idea what this so-called city protocol is. I know there's a county protocol. No one has brought to my attention that there are missing streetlights in South Rockport.
Whoa.
We just don't have it.
I don't know where they are. I will say, yes, they were brought to my attention, but I don't know where they are. I do know also that south of 12th Street, we don't have streetlights at all, period, end of statement. So, if I know where they are, then I can start attacking the problem. Specifically, it has to be specific information. I don't have it.
Okay, we'll make them out. We've done that already. My husband spent a lot of time mapping that out.
I know that. I know that.
Lost it,
Well,
I've done it again.
and he's done it again.
So I know, communication is extremely important. So anything you communicate, it needs to be redirected. And, for every problem, there's a resolution. For every resolution, there is a solution. That should be the proposal of issues that you bring forth. So safety, I know about safety. I treat the problems of safety when they're not actually upheld. So, there is, just recently at a previous meeting here, we were given information regarding the light issue from one of the commissioners. There is resources available to have those installed if they're missing. Going out and outsourcing these resources is part of the job. Finding what's available, instilling that, we uphold the standard that's not being met. So it definitely would be something that, when you communicate something to me, I'm going to take that, try to find a solution to the problem timely and efficiently so that you feel like you have, you have that completion there. There's an end result okay? For instance, one of the biggest safety risks we have is on Corpus Christi Street and Market, or Business 35. Can't tell you how many accidents have occurred there. Deaths have occurred there. We need a proposal to have an intersection light placed there. Safety is a huge risk. Lighting deters crime. It deters, people walking the roadway, not being seen and hit. Your children, I don't let my kids out late, but, they are. But, it could just be somebody that doesn't, especially in Ward 1, have the ability to have a vehicle to drive somewhere. I have people walk down my street all the time. I want to ensure that people are going the right speed, that there's appropriate lighting to provide them safety. Just because they don't have the resources of the vehicle to get themselves around doesn't mean they shouldn't have the assurity of safety on the roadways, just as we do if we're driving a vehicle.
Yep.
So.
We can't even find that screen.
Okay, next question for Bo. I'm sorry, I sound like this. It's the way I am. The city laws and codes allow general junk and construction materials to be stored on properties when no construction is going on. If not, why are exceptions made and how can citizens object? That's for Bo.
I didn't understand that.
This is specifically being addressed to a property down in South Live Oak. I've seen it myself. So that's what it's about.
Well, this is the first I'm hearing about it. Once again, I don't know about it, I can't take care of it, people. I have no idea where this is or what's being done. I can get back to everybody. Nobody calls me.
I emailed you about that, and you responded to me.
Give me the address again.
It's the 1100 block of South Live Oak on the west side. Gentlemen from Austin bought 5 properties. They're all wrecked. They were clean, they're a wreck now.
Okay. I will ensure that gets taken care of.
Appreciate it.
So I'm just curious, is this a residential property or is this properties that were just purchased and they just put
They're
it?
residential on R3. It's zoned, zoned R2, R6. There was a rent house that's been rehabbed, and it's sort of, there's a shack that fell down in
Are they living on
Harvey.
the property?
No, listen to me. Blown down in Harvey. The previous owners paid to have the house mover lifted up, bring it out toward the street. They put in new pilings, put it back up. They sold it. The code enforcement told me that the city building department said they could use it as a warehouse. As long as their projects were going on. So that was nothing going on. And then there's these 3 lots, vacant lots that the previous owner put together, all 3 lots, and now they're just covered with crap.
Okay. Well, I would first start by ensuring that, communication, you communicate those needs to me. I'm going to do my best to address them. I do, you can go on each side of this, I would want to ensure if somebody, had a complaint about a property, just as I tell my nurses, they take care of patients. I don't want nurse trash. Pick up after yourself. You should be proud of your home. The residents around your adjacent properties, they should be proud of their spaces. You also want to ensure the protection and the rights of the property owner, but there's a limitation. When you start affecting your neighborhood, your neighbors, that's when it becomes a community concern. So it has to be addressed carefully, but it should still be addressed. It's just one of the fine lines where you're going to have to be real creative on how you address this. Maybe he has no ability to clean up the mess he created. I'm just saying, it does happen. You have those people that don't have the physical mobility and it's just gotten beyond them. Let's get the community together. Let's clean it up for them. We can do more. Well, not in this situation, obviously, but I use that as an example. You know, we can make changes together.
It's teamwork.
Okay, Katie, tell me this. This is, why did you vote to rezone the property on St. Francis Avenue, homeowner opposition?
First of all, there are only 2 owners in opposition. Of the 10 or 12 that were involved. That is property that is on the bypass. It has 109 feet of bypass frontage now, which means nothing has to go through the neighborhood. And the future land use map, as passed by City Council in 2021 finally, has that as a commercial corridor. I had 2 against, so that was like, I think it ended up being like 15% of the property owners around it. Nothing from the rest of them. Commercial in the future land use map, and frontage on the bypass, which would not affect the neighborhoods. That's why I voted yes.
If re-elected or elected, what steps do you expect to take to improve code enforcement in South Rockport?
I'm going to assume this is actually for Ward 1 in general, not just South Rockport in specific. Code enforcement is, nobody wants to hear they're overworked and underpaid because city employees can't be overworked and underpaid for some reason. They are doing the best they can with the 3 code enforcement people they have right now. In South Rockport in specific, since I took office, we've had I want to say 10 houses demolished. I go to every building standards committee meeting, and I also go to every planning and zoning committee meeting if it's Ward 1 specific. Code enforcement didn't come to my neck of the woods until I became a city council person and said, what's this code enforcement stuff? So they've been slowly making the rounds down on the other side. This is a process that takes a while. You have to have it well documented, well everything, in order to destroy somebody's home. If it's just regular cleanup, that's a lot easier. And everything in between. I mean, I don't go sit on code enforcement's desk every day and, what do you got in Ward 1? What do you got in Ward 1? I get a report once a month. And the issues are brought to my attention. And then I attack them, if they are needed. I'm not taking questions today, Beth. I'll ask you later. So, code enforcement, nobody likes getting a visit from code enforcement. If you don't like getting a visit from code enforcement, keep your grass short, keep your yard cleaned up, don't interfere with your neighbor's right to their, however they want to live. That's all I can say.
I have to stand right here. Speaker doesn't like me. So, as far as if elected code enforcement, it should remain a priority. Taking the concerns, complaints from others in the ward regarding code enforcement issues that especially imply unsafe conditions. You know, it needs to be taken seriously. It needs to be addressed immediately. I'll tell you, persistence does go a long way. So learning how to work with other agencies, collaborate with them, communicate with them, it makes the difference. You know, building those relationships, a lot can go a long way. You know, you get things done very quickly when you have those relationships built and you're persistent with the issue. They're going to get it done because they're going to get tired of you being there. You know, so bringing it in front of their attention and bringing it in front of their attention often, it does make a difference. So definitely persistence with any issues. And ultimately, you know, I'm bound by my own code enforcement, and, you know, there's nothing worse than JACO. So I know all about having to navigate those issues in my own career. And it is easy. It's easy to work and build those relationships and ensure that things are done and they're done timely.
Okay, this is for you, Katie. It says, knowing you live in an annexed area, do you support de-annexation? If so, would you join and support a petition to de-annex, and how would that affect your seat on the city council? I don't know, but I'd like to listen to that, because I wouldn't mind de-annexing myself.
Right now, the city manager is sick to death of me talking to her about de-annexation.
Oh, it's your I'm not. That's my job. I'm not.
That's her job. We talk about it quite frequently. Okay. I support de-annexation, especially in places that are very rural, such as south of 12, west of the bypass, and some other small parts that have been annexed within the last 13 years. Do I support a petition for my annexed area to be de-annexed? Yes, I do. I can't run that petition. I can't be in charge of that petition, and I can do nothing with that petition because I am a city council person. As per what would happen with my council seat if I was de-annexed, I would probably ask the petitioners to leave my property out of it so I could finish my term and then let somebody else have it. Because I take being a city council person very seriously, and there's no way I would be running this election if I knew I was going to be out of the city by the end of the year. That would be a waste of everybody's tax dollars. And it would be. Just remember, 2 years ago, only 103 people in Ward 1 voted. Every single vote cost $58. So I am not here to waste your money. Never have, never will, no matter what others think. So, there's the de-annexation. Anybody can de-annex. You can request, people who own this property can request a de-annex. It would come in front of the city council, and we'd go, probably not. Because it's an established neighborhood, and there's all kinds of reasons. I do know, for those who want to know what's holding up anything about the annexation, is there's a lot of data we have to collect. When the city manager and I talked about that, it would be a professional study in the neighborhood of $500,000. Okay? It's expensive. We don't have that kind of money. So we are slowly developing that data ourselves. Strictly for Annex Area X, which is the one I'm in, and so is Mr. Webb. I think we have to come up with $150,000 savings to the city so that the rest of you don't have to pay for the property taxes that were lost in my annexation area when we de-annex. We're not going to put that burden on anybody else, because that's unfair. So, we will see where this goes. We are still collecting data, and we're still looking at all the information. And it's going to take a while, because we're doing it ourselves. I cannot raise your taxes, therefore I cannot hire anybody to do this. It's going to take some time. Okay? Good answer?
That's the end of the question. All right, Eddie, you're going to have 2 minutes to give us a closing statement, and then please give the microphone to Stephanie.
I've enjoyed the last 2 years of being a city council person. It's very, very fulfilling and very rewarding. The thing I haven't liked about being a city council person for the last 2 years is that I have to listen to everything that's said about me, good, bad. I get bullied, can't do a damn thing about it. This is the best job in the world. It really is. I really enjoy it. I'm really good at it. I always go to every single, I've not missed a city council meeting. I haven't missed anything city councils are required to be at. I give out information right and left via the web so that it's available for everyone. On anything that I'm thinking about, anything the city's doing. Currently right now it's more legislation heavy because a lot of that stuff affects us. City council is not just code enforcement and dog catcher. City council is what is the legislation trying to do to make it more difficult for me to do my job? What can I do to help you all be more safe? Believe me, if I could get away with a 10-cent tax increase, I would, so I can get 10 more police officers. And we can do something about crime in this city. I can't do that. I wish I could. That's what I want to do. Maybe someday I'll get to. This city money isn't free money, and we all know it. All of us pay that money. All of us pay for police. All of us pay my $187.70 a month, $184.70 a month to be a city council person. We all pay that. The stuff that we get from winter Texans and visitors does not compare to what we pay as our ad valorem levy. So, wrap up. I'm Katie Jackson. I'm currently your Ward 1 City Council person. I would absolutely love it if you would vote for me to be your City Council person for the next 2 years. Early voting starts April 24th.
So again, I just want to thank you for providing me time this evening. Given the opportunity of this position, I have the motivation to learn and familiarize myself with all the requirements that the position entails. I've dedicated my career to helping others, and I run for this position with the same purpose. The person that is standing in front of you today, I'm going to have the same principles, the same ethics 1 year from now or at the end of my term, given the opportunity. I understand the best practices of this position require transparency, accountability, as well as integrity. So I believe you should trust your official, I'm so sorry. I'm at the end of it, Easter. I believe that you should trust your elected officials. And I stand here willing to build that trust through my actions, not just my words. But what I ensure to you is advocacy for Ward 1, the best interests of the people. I will truly represent your needs and make sure that your voices are heard. I stand here providing you with an option, and now that choice is yours. So I ask you to come out to the polls and vote for me.
Okay, we thank you, Katie, and we thank you, Stephanie, and if you'll take a seat over there, you're going to have to vote now. We have 5 candidates running for school board. When they come up here real quick, we'll get this going. We really want to get time to go over some of these amendments or propositions. We have the city manager here to answer any questions you might have, and Jeff is also here. Okay, Stephanie, you going to stick around for a little while? All right, I have the first question for the school board. Can a person vote for the school board in 1 and 1 in 5? They can. What is the difference? I mean, what is that for?
The reason the places are there is to show.
Okay. Do you understand that? You can vote for a person in 1 and in 5. Okay, we're going to give you a minute to introduce yourself and 2 minutes.
I got to be quick.
You have to memorize in case it starts.
My name is Jack Vogel. I am running for a school board. I need your help. I need your vote. And the reason why I feel I'm qualified for your vote is I'm retired 22 years as a teacher and administrator, 7 years teacher, 15 years administrator. Second reason, and the biggest reason why I'm running, is because our students deserve a better education than they're getting. A report recently came out that our students are below 50% in the state. It's ridiculous. That was proficiency in math and reading. The TEA gave us a evaluation of 84, and everybody thinks that's good. No, Corpus Christi, an inner city school, rated higher than us. Then Oswell, Calhoun County, and did better than us. Sidney not only did better than us, they got a 90, they got an A, and we're at a B, a low B. So we need to raise our standards, support our teachers more than we have been, and that is why I need your vote, and I feel I deserve your vote. Thank you.
Hello. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi. I'm Julie McBurney. I am also running for place 5 in the school board. There's a couple of reasons why I think I should. First of all, or I should be considered for your vote. I have been a lifelong educational publisher, content from all areas of education. So I know publishing from that perspective. I know what goes into it. I also have got 3 nephews who graduated from high school here, a niece who is finishing up her freshman year. My daughter is starting her freshman year next year. I know nothing about the kids, okay? I admit that first and foremost, nothing. But I do know, watching my daughter and watching my niece and watching the children these days and what they're facing, and it just, I'm so alarmed for their future and social media's impact, and I think that we're really turning a blind eye, and I think the repercussions can be horrific. It ultimately is bullying, and my daughter has experienced some bullying. It's been addressed appropriately, and I was very pleased with that. But these are very, very serious, critical issues, and I'm watching it as a parent, but I'm also a person who wants to be involved and hopefully make a difference. So, thank you.
I'm going to stay seated so that I don't turn my back against anybody. My name is Kathy McCullough, and I'm asking for your vote as well. I'm actually going to give you a little bit of information, a little background about me personally first, and I wrote it down so I don't forget who I am. Both my parents were educators. My dad taught at American University in Washington, D.C., and then at Bradley University in Peoria, Illinois. My mom taught, she opened the first Head Start in 1965 in Peoria. She taught Head Start, she taught third grade, she taught high school, she taught college, and she ended her career as a reading specialist. My life in Texas actually started in 1974 when I moved down here to go to UTSA to get a master's degree. And for a while I thought I might buy a house in Port A, and I found out about the taxes and the insurance. And so a friend sold me a house in Holiday Beach, and I bought that house as a retirement home, vacation home and retirement home. And now it's where I live. As far as my education, I have a bachelor's. Yes, is that it? I'm done? Oh, I was supposed to say, oh my God. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology and physiological psychology, which is the brain and the nervous system. I have a master's degree in bicultural bilingual studies from UTSA with a focus on early childhood, and I have a PhD from Texas A&M in education and human resource development. Even though my career is early childhood, I don't actually have a degree in early childhood, but I have 21 graduate hours, which is a degree, pretty much. And let's see what else I want to tell you real quick, one minute. I taught at San Antonio College for almost 27 years. I was the chairperson of the Department of Early Childhood Studies for the last 6.5 years. And at that time, one of the things I did was I worked with UTSA to create transfer opportunities for our students as they moved on, because Head Start and accredited centers were being told that their teachers had to have bachelor's degrees. So I worked on that with that. I've also worked for Head Start. And I've worked in the American schools in Eastern and Central European. And I'm happy to answer your questions.
What place are you running for?
Two.
Two.
Yeah,
Good afternoon. My name is Seth Snyder. I am the incumbent for the school board, place 5. I'm born and raised here in coastal Bend area. I'm actually born in Ingleside. I was there my whole life. After graduating Ingleside, I went to College Station, Texas A&M College Station, graduated there in 2003 with a kinesiology degree and a minor in history. And then I went on to finish my degree, and I got a master's degree at Texas A&M Corpus Christi here, the Islanders, in education administration. I was in education for 10 years. I was a teacher and coach. College Station was where I started my career. Moved to Lockhart, and then I finished my last 6 years here in Gregory, Portland. Coached anything from history to health, PE coach, coached pretty much anything from, has to do with boys and girls in track, football, baseball, basketball, and then of course in track, I did boys and girls there. I did get out of coaching and teaching about 10 years ago. I am currently a business operations specialist at Flint Hills Resources there in Corpus Christi. I have a beautiful wife here. She is actually a teacher. She is the behavior interventionist at the Live Oak here in town. She's been with the district for about 9 years now, 16 years overall. We have 2 children. Our oldest daughter is a junior. Her name is Staley Snyder. And then, of course, our son is in 8th grade. His name is Reed Snyder. Both of them are very active. My daughter is a 3-time state qualifier in the powerlifting. Very proud of her, so I like to brag on her. She's a part of the cheerleading program and volleyball program. My son is a very active member also in sports, plays football, basketball, track, and he's also in baseball right now. I'm missing his baseball game right now, so I'm a little upset. But no big deal, right? I'm doing this for him. Other than that, what I would like to say, though, is if I do get the opportunity to keep representing Rockport, some of the things that I've been working on in the short time that I've been part of the board is showcasing all and encouraging all of our students' involvement, and that is both academically and athletically. I'm a very big advocate of showcasing our kids, showing what our kids are doing. Something else that I do like to work on is competitive wages for our teachers. I'm very proud to say that we have, the past 2 years, that we have given the teacher raises and also contributed more money to their insurance. So we are trying to do things to keep our good teachers here. Am I done? Thank you.
Good afternoon, y'all. My name is Logan Burton, and I am currently your Place 2 School Board Trustee, and I'm seeking re-election. I feel like I would have figured that out by now. But I'm sorry, I feel like...
Come forward.
This is what I wanted to say. Yeah, I guess I could come forward. I'm born and raised here in Rockport. Lived here all my life. Graduated from Rockport Fulton High School in 1998, and then went on to Texas A&M and got a degree in civil engineering, both a bachelor's and master's, in 2003. My family moved back here 10 years later, and so my wife, she's been teaching also at Rockport Fulton for the last 10 years, and then I have 2 daughters, Kinsley and Addison, who are both one's in middle school, one's in high school, both also doing very good academically and athletically. I think I'd like to just say that I'm doing this because I love our country. I love Rockport Fulton, and I love our district. I'm extremely invested in what we're doing here. Obviously, if I wasn't, I wouldn't move back. So I want the best for this city, and of course for all the kids that are coming up. They are our future leaders. They are our future contributors to our society. And schools, of course, they focus on academics and also on athletics and all this extracurricular stuff. But what they're really learning is life lessons. And it's important that schools continue to do that and to focus on that because it makes our communities better in the future. I guess I also wanted to say that I'm a conservative Christian, and I base all of my decisions in my life on those beliefs. It'll burn. Don't move, right? Okay. Already mentioned that I'm an engineer. I would tell you that one of my skills, one of the things that I think that make me good for this job are that me being an engineer, I pay a lot of attention to detail. My family would tell you that. Every person that works with me at the school would tell you that. And I ask a lot of questions. And I think that the reason that that's valuable for you and for me, because it helps me determine and find answers.
That was hard.
Okay, I think we're going to do this. Do you have a question? Okay, we have some questions. Here they go.
We don't take questions from the floor, no.
Oh, we will. She can get through these real quick.
Talk to the candidates afterwards. We did it from before, we did it all night.
All the candidates are still here, so once we get this over with, we can go on to some of these propositions if we have time, and then we can go to the candidates.
All right, here we go. Just for everybody. With reports of ACISD showing poor student achievement, how do you plan to improve education for our students?
These are this proposal.
Mark down.
We'll start with you and we'll go down.
I'm going to stay up here, can I get?
Go right ahead.
Thank you.
Set it pretty good up here.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, education. That's why I'm running for this school board. That's a great question. Our students, I alluded to the poor scores that we've been getting, and we need to change that. But it really starts at the school board. The school board is the one who sets the policies. We only have one employee, and that's the superintendent, Josh Garcia, and through him, our direction goes out into the rest of the school district. I am very experienced in school business. I know what a good district looks like. I know what a good district, how hard it is to be a good district. But what we have to do is plan, follow that plan, and then live that plan to get our students up to speed. We have the money. We don't need to tax another dime. We have the money, and we need to spend it better. Let me give you an example of where we're not spending the money the way we should for our students. There's a name change coming up. We were Aransas County ISD for years. They're changing it to Rockport Fulton ISD. I asked the vice president about that, why are we changing? And she told me it was to rebrand the district. And that's why we are spending so much money from painting buses on up. So we need to reduce the amount of money we're wasting so we can hire more teachers. We got a teacher ratio that is very high. And we need more assistant principals. At the high school, there's only 2 assistant principals for 4 grades. And that's why discipline, I substitute as well. I'm in the classrooms. I did that so I could see for my own eyes, my own ears, what's going on. Not to have somebody tell me what's going on or something they wanted me to tell them. So I'm seeing this going on when I'm in the classrooms. Kids are misbehaving and they're being sent to the office, and then probably because there's no AP there, they're sending them back to their classes. We're not supporting our teachers. Can you imagine if a teacher is in there and they send a kid out, 10 minutes later that kid comes back? Just imagine that. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Yeah. This might be controversial, but whatever. This is both from my professional experience and then watching my daughter as she studies and as she is preparing for a test, and I'm just like, well, what are you studying? And she's preparing for, studying for the test, taking a test for the test. There's no learning in that. And so I think this is a huge undertaking, because I think that our district is following what TEA says to do, and I think we have to keep going forward or going up. And I've had limited but very, very positive interaction with Dr. Lowry and his vision for the future of our school district. So, I mean, I say take away teaching to the task. Let's teach them life skills. Let's teach them what they need to make it through life. And that's some valuable time that's currently really being wasted right now. So.
stand up since everybody else is standing. Excuse me for turning my back. My field is early childhood. We know that what happens in the first 5, 6, 7 years of life sets in motion the child's path through elementary school, college, life, if they choose to go to college, and life. And we know that when we invest in early childhood, just economically, dollar-wise, the return on investment is $13 for every $1 that we invest in those early years. I know that one of the reasons that you won't find the early learning centers on the most recent scoreboard is because they scored so low that they weren't included in the scoreboard. Now, I think that probably COVID had something to do with that. We're seeing delays in young children throughout the country because of COVID. But I look back a few years before that, and those scores were already kind of low. So I think we have a problem at the very beginning with what we're doing with the very youngest children. I'm not sure we're following the science about early brain development and how very young children learn, which is very different from how older children learn. And in addition, how we assess them. We talked about teaching to the test. You can't test a 5-year-old. You know, I mean, we are, but you're going to get nothing valid from those test scores. And that's going to bring the numbers down right there for the early learning centers. So my position is that I'm on the board, on every school board, on this school board, and on city councils, everywhere, there should be someone who says, how does this affect the young children, negatively or positively? When we're spending money, how does that, affect the young children? And so that's my whole thing.
Education. So I will tell you that we are investing a lot of money in our education right now. Perfect example, we have what they call ESSER funds. ESSER funds is something that the government gave to us over the COVID, and they broke it up into 3 different sections. They gave us $8 million. With that $8 million, we have hired new teachers. We started this new program. We have a teacher here. If you have any questions for it, it is our PLC program, Professional Learning Community, basically where we have teachers advocating for one another about how to get our students to where they need to be. We hire teacher coaches. We have a teacher coach here today. The plan for a teacher coach is if you are a new teacher or you're fresh out of college, these teachers will basically mentor these first-year teachers to get them up to speed, help them with classroom management, help them with lessons plans. So there is a ton of money being dumped into our educational department to get our scores where they need to be. And 84 is something to be proud of, I will tell you that. Because the scores, I will tell you, one thing I do want to let you know, because it is coming and it's going to happen to Rockport and everybody's state of Texas. That goalpost, where you get graded, is changing. Right now, they're pretty much telling you if you were an A, you're going to be a B next year. If you're a B, you're going to be a C next year. If you're a C, you're going to be a D. So I want to throw that out there just so that way you are aware of it. Some other cool things that we've been doing with education is our PTech program. It's a pathway technology to early high school education, I believe is what it is. It's an acronym, basically it's a CTE program. It's working on a career and technical education. We just bought a new lab. Basically, it's going to be for our 7th and 8th grade junior high. We've never had CTE in there, so this is like a new program for them where these kids can go in there and basically pick things from nursing to draftsmen to flying a drone, that's all on there, and they will actually send lab work to them that they can have hands-on training and get basically a jump start with that CTE program, American Career and Technology Program. So I will promise you that we are dumping a lot of money into our education. A lot of it is government funded, which is great, right? And we're able to, some other things that we've done with the ESSER fund, just to let you know, is also we've been able to increase our SO officers, our security officers, so safety. We went to 5 officers instead of 2.
It's going to be hard to add much after following Seth there. So yes, our accountability rating was a B, and we did have our youngest schools, Live Oak and Fulton that received pretty poor grades. I would just say they were unrated, which is not a good sign. However, I do want to be clear that scores, first off, the accountability rating system is extremely complicated. And so there are many things that factor into it. It's not like kids take one test and then that sets the score. It's much more complicated. But I would say this, the current ratings are based on tests that were taken in 2018 and 2019. That was 2 years after Harvey, and then during COVID time frame. So it no doubt had a big impact. And of course, I just mentioned it was on the lowest schools. So these are the youngs that Kathleen mentioned. And it was very hard. They showed up to school unready, right? It's because they've been at home. So that's a big deal. And next thing I'd like to say is that obviously academics, I mean, our board, my personal goal and our board's goal is driven by setting academic goals. We focus on right now the current goal is meeting or exceeding in 3rd grade English and 9th grade algebra. And it's kind of a standard measurement across the state of Texas to pick those 2 grades and those 2 subjects. But we're looking for 80% pass rates. That is very difficult to achieve, but we are providing that support. And Seth did mention this as well, but I would also say it's not like we're sitting on our hands and knees not doing anything. Tier 1 instruction, which involves the PLCs that he mentioned, 2 years ago we started a very big focus on this Tier 1 instruction. And I don't have the time to explain it all, but I would just say that the basis of it is that we focus proven techniques that focus on the student body as a whole and attempt to improve the group as a whole and not on a specific group.
Then we've got another 1 or 2 questions, and then we're going to have to cut it off. We want to get to some of these amendments. I keep saying amendments. Propositions. Let's go. George, can you introduce people again? Because we're trying to remember who's who. Oh, sure.
And what place?
I was thinking they should stay on
Place 2, stand up.
Okay, we're
Place
going
3.
to start right here.
What's the question?
I just want to know your name and what place you're in.
Okay. I'm Jack Vogel, and I'm running for place 5.
Julie McBurney, also place 5.
Kathy McAuliffe, Dr. McAuliffe, no, don't call Kathy, call me Kathy, place 2.
Seth Snyder, incumbent for place 5.
And Logan Burton, place 2.
I want to thank the school board. Did away with their meeting tonight so the candidates could be here. We have 2 more questions. And the candidates will stick around a little while we try to get some of these propositions. And there's a lot of food in there if anybody gets hungry.
Okay. This is for everybody. No name. Are you or will you be joining the TASB, Texas Association of School Boards, or seek alternatives to get the required training for school board members? The training for school board members. How do we do it?
That's a requirement. Everybody's going to say yes.
Yeah.
Good for y'all.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one here that I really hesitate to ask, but I'm going to ask it because somebody else wanted to know. Yeah. Will you commit to preventing CRT or gender-affirming services into our schools, or superseding parental rights to opt out?
Or drink Bud Light.
Good question.
Are you asking, will I commit to, clarify that, please?
I'm not asking, somebody else.
Not you, yes, you verbalized it.
It says, will you commit to presenting CRT or gender affirming services into our schools or superseding parental rights to opt out?
Yes. I just wanted to make sure I understood correctly.
I'm sure I do. I'm just
She's committing to
My answer will
eliminating
be a
that?
little bit longer.
That's what she said.
CRT, critical race theory, is a theory. I teach many theories in my early childhood courses. I teach theories about language development, physical development, cognitive development, brain development. So I teach a lot of theories. So I want to make sure you understand, critical race theory is a theory. It is not a curriculum. It is not a curriculum that has anything to do with children. I have never ever studied critical race theory because I never went to law school. It is a theory that is taught in law school. It is a theory about intersectionality. The intersectionality of law and race. So there's absolutely no reason that anyone should be teaching critical race theory to children at all, ever, never. As far as the district having anything to do with gender affirming whatever, that is between a child and a family, and I assume a doctor. I don't know how far they're going to go with that, but it's our policy, it should be our policy, it'd be my policy, that we take every child where they are, and we meet them where they are, and we give them what they need to be successful. And what was the last thing? Oh, parents?
Yeah, well,
Parents are the partners. We wouldn't be here without parents. We depend on parents having children so that we can do what we do. And so that is my answer.
All right, so the first part, critical race theory, is absolutely 100%. It's been around for about 40 years, and again, exactly what she said, it is nothing more than a theory. It is just a theory about our social institutions, such as labor force, criminal justice, education, that there is encrypted in our policies and procedures, racism to make one race superior to the other. I can tell you personally, being on the board, that is not in Rockport. It has never been taught. It will never be taught. Once again, it is just a theory, and to just hopefully make everybody feel nice and pretty and neat, is Rockport teaches nothing but diversity. So critical race theory is something that you would never have to worry about. The other part of it, I'm assuming that you're talking about the woke generation. I believe, again, I'm a Christian background. I have a Christian background. I believe what you're born is what you are. And that's kind of, you can probably go see where I go with that. What you do in your personal time is all your business. I'm 100% believe that, but to me, God put you here for a certain reason, and that's what you are in my eyes. And as far as the parents goes,
My reason is.
good one.
Yeah, the way I look at it, again, Logan Burton Place 2. The way I look at it is that critical race theory is really the belief that there's racism around every single thing that we do and built into our culture and everything that we do and live. It has zero place. It does not belong in Aransas County ISD, not even to the slightest. That's my belief. I believe that people should be judged by the content of their character and not by the color of their skin. I actually didn't hear the second question, but I think I picked up on it. I would just say, Already kind of hit on this earlier, but anything that is woke ideology, I am going to be very much against, and the current board, I would say, is pretty much against, or would be against. So anything that falls in that realm is not going to get the support from me.
Yeah, so we'll play that. That's a bunch of garbage, okay? All that stuff. I'm going to be quick. It's a bunch of garbage. I'm a substitute in the schools, and I don't see it. I talk to a lot of teachers, not a word, and I would hear it. So it's not in their district at all. And as long as I'm on the school board, it will not be in their district. Thank you.
Okay, that's it. That's it. I'm going to ask the school board to just give you a minute on a closing statement, and I'm going to ask them to stick around a while. We'll see if we can get to some of these propositions. And like I said, there's a whole table of food in there. You want to give a minute for closing statement?
Yeah. Kathy McAuliffe, place 2. I'm going to talk about something we didn't talk about, just to get it out there. And I want to talk a little bit about, you in my silver sneakers class, aren't you? Silver sneakers. Reading. One of the reasons I think that we're having these low scores is because of what we're doing to children when it comes to reading. How many of you started school when you were about age 6 or 7? That's when you went to school. That's because your brain is ready to go to school when you're age 6 or 7. I'm lecturing now. So we have children in pre-K, we have children in kindergarten. Pre-K means pre, before school. Kindergarten is meant to be a playful place for children, not to be teaching them to read. So if we do the right thing and teach children to read when their brains are ready, our scores will go up.
Seth Snyder, again, incumbent for place 5. Again, I just want to say thank y'all for letting us come and talk to y'all for a little bit. Again, I'd love to continue to represent Rockport ISD. I'm very involved in the community. I love all the kids there. I'm at pretty much every sporting event. If you have not seen me at a sporting event, you've probably never been there, because that's where I love these kids. I love our teachers. I love what we're doing. We're doing a lot of great things. Very excited about the bond that we have passed and getting these kids what they deserve with the new high school, new bands, new band facility. I'm surprised we did not get the topic today, but last night we did approve a turf field, which is extremely excited about that for our student athletes, our band, ROTC. It's going to just continue to excel Rockport in the direction that we want to go, which is into the future. And again, I'm asking for your vote come May 6th. Thank y'all again. Appreciate you.
Logan Burton, place 2. I think just to wrap it up, I think I just wanted to kind of talk through a couple of my priorities moving forward if y'all in fact do elect me for a second term. First off, I want to focus on teacher retention and staff stability. We've had a lot of brand new teachers that have come in lately. I will say, in the years past, a lot of that's been due to pay. But over the last 2 years, we've been able to give raises, and it has built some stability within our staff. I would just say that they're still young and we're all and still learning. Also, applying I'm a civil engineer, and we're going into a $66 million project. I have a unique perspective going into construction like that, and as you know, y'all seen going to the grocery store with what grocery bills now are 50% above what they used to be. A lot of that's happening in construction industry as well. And so I think I do provide a unique perspective on the board in addressing those issues and those challenges as we move forward with this project. Number one goal with that project is on budget and on time.
Billion, trillion, that's okay, Joe.
What's that?
Trillion, billion, it don't matter.
There you go.
It's never going to be on budget.
We'll see. Right now, it still is, but we have a couple of things that we're looking at for value engineering. Also, conservative budgeting. That's always going to be the basis of what I guess I believe in, because I'm conservative in my own household and in the business that I run, and I believe that our schools should be the same way. And then minimizing the impact on recapture. Recapture obviously impacts our district greatly. Last year we sent $7 million of our own local tax dollars back to the state of Texas. And they didn't even send it all to other 4 districts. They kept most of it. So we're working with legislation to try to help minimize that. Thank y'all very much for the opportunity.
Jack Vogel, Place 5. I'm going to give you a story of a student that will sum up my campaign. I was substituting 7th grade math class a few weeks ago, and we're going over multiplying decimals, which is a hard concept for 7th graders. And most of the, or a good part of the class was going along fine. There were some who were struggling, so I was helping them out. But then I came across this one young man, and he didn't get anything. I sat down next to him while the rest of the class was working, and I asked him lower grade questions. And I finally got down to, what is 9 plus 6? And he looked at me, and he said, 13? 14? He was guessing. He didn't know 2nd grade math, and that's totally ridiculous. Here's a 7th grader, and I asked him, what do you plan on doing? He said, I can't wait to turn 18 so I could drop out. And the more I thought about it, I said, I don't blame him. Can you imagine being that student in that class? Your friends think you're dumb, and you're not getting help. The student wasn't getting any help. Here he is. He's been with us since kindergarten, and then the pandemic and the Harvey, unique to Rockport, came, and he's 5 years behind. And this is what fires me up, puts fire in my belly, is that we're not doing what we need to do to catch students like this and others. There are many others who are way behind. There are college students in my walks around the neighborhoods. I've been walking for 7 weeks. In my walks with these neighbors, they're telling me about the freshman kids who have to take, they're good at Rockport High School, but they have to take remedial classes. Remedial math, remedial English, composition, whatever. This is what they should have already known. This is why I'm here, and I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
I just, Jeff, kind of want to give the alternate to yours, just a little bit of a, sometimes we might want to tell our families out there to tone it down a bit, because my daughter in 8th grade, who equally is probably about 4 years behind, wants to be a physicist and she cannot be a physicist. There is no reason for her to be one, but I'll just say, I think it also comes back to, our families have got to get involved. I'm grateful and I'm very proud that my daughter still thinks she can be a physicist, and I encourage her following you forward. So, but ultimately, just really, truly thank you for even considering me and having us and me here tonight. So, thank you.
We thank all the candidates being here this evening. And don't forget, early voting is April 24th through April 28th, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And May 1st and 2nd, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Election day voting is May 7th and is 7 to 7 p.m. May 6th. All voting will take place at
602 East Concho Street.
On 602 East Concho Street. Right diagonally across the street from the fire department, down the street from the police department, where we will be on the 15th. Okay, well, let's see if we can get some of these questions. Jeff Hutt.
There you go.
Will the city manager come over here, please? We're going to try to get you in the daylight.
Yes.
I mean, in the...
Mm-hmm. Yes. For everybody.
Wow, Willie Rockport.
Jeff, you're coming up here?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay, these four people know more about this than anybody else, so
No, it's not.
we are going to try.
We're not going to go over them one by one, are we? It's just going to be.
Yeah, just go down the list real quick. If you will, okay, you don't have a position. Okay, can I have everybody's attention? We're going to try to get as many of these propositions as we can while we still have today. And there's plenty of food inside. Anybody want to go in and get a plate and bring it back out here, that's fine too. Okay, I've got, I wonder if people want to say something. I'm going to let it talk right now.
Hello, my name is Christy Rutledge, and I'm here tonight representing Aransas County Voters Coalition. I personally attended all of the Charter Review Commission meetings. I don't know how many hours, maybe 30 or 40 hours worth of meetings. As we know, at the culmination of the Charter Review Commission meetings, the City Council went to Bastrop, and they had a 6.5-hour meeting. So I encourage you all to follow Aransas County Voters Coalition on Facebook and follow our YouTube account, because on our YouTube account we have all of the meetings there labeled and the recordings of them. In the comment section of the Bastrop meeting, you can click on a link, and they're time-stamped to take you to, we've notated the things that were changed in Bastrop. I'm not going to waste a lot of your time. I asked for 3 minutes. So the Voters Coalition was started in 2020 in the summer during the courthouse bond, and it's just grassroots, nonpartisan citizens. And I attended the meetings from the perspective of a taxpayer and a voter. And the city did a good job. It was very hard to get through. It was a lot of legal information, and the charter provisions interact with each other, and it's very hard to discern that when they were on a time frame to get this onto the election for May, okay? So that's why things were sort of rushed. So it's a lot of documents. I read through all of them many, many times, and the attorney that led the process was hired just for the charter review. I thank the city manager for doing that because it's long overdue. I will say that in Bastrop was the opportunity for the city attorney and the city manager to have a conversation with the city council. So they spent the first few hours talking about the vision for de-annexation. There were some things that arrived early on in the process, and that was about petitions. What happens with petitions when they are submitted? And that's referendum, initiative, or recall petitions. There's a provision in the city charter that allows city council to just ignore those petitions. Okay, so that was sort of increased. My perspective was to look out for how are these amendments that are being proposed, who are they being proposed by, but more importantly, how do they help taxpayers? So I passed out 11 positions that the Aransas County Voters Coalition decided on. There's 23 amendments, propositions, and we are opposed to 11. I notated on here 2 of them in highlights. I'm sorry this didn't print out in color, but Proposition C was changed by City Council in Bastrop, okay? And Proposition E was changed by City Council in Bastrop. These are the ones that we're opposed to. You can follow us on Facebook. You can learn why we're opposed to them, mostly from the perspective of fiscal responsibility, from is this giving more transparency to the fiscal process? So I want to highlight one that's the biggest one that I need you to know about. I've been following the city budget for 3 cycles now. I read all of the budget. It's 130 pages long, line item details. They love it when I come to the meetings. And I would love it when if you came with me.
Yes.
To see for yourself. Colleen and Larry come, they get to see it. But I think together we work really well. We actually advocated and got $1 million added for drainage maintenance, which has been defunded by the city. So we're your eyes and ears, but I need more eyes and more ears.
Good point.
So, Proposition U, governing municipal finance. That's the budget, the spending, and the borrowing. They lifted the cap on borrowing. So we've had $22.8 million in tax notes. Those are 7-year or 10-year debt. They're designed to meet short-term revenue gaps. But City Council has passed $22.8 million, doubled our debt in 3 years, 2.5 years. Well, they didn't, period, a year and a half. And without consent of the voters. You didn't get to vote on that. They actually discarded the citizens' petition in August of 2020. So that's why I was looking out for changes. And then they passed tax notes for $14.7 million. And I was there, I advocated, and I stayed committed. Because it's a matter of survival. Okay, I've been in town for 21 years, raised my kids here, put them through school, and families are going to get taxed out. That's the bottom line. If they keep spending like this. They raised the cap on emergency spending, and they took away the cap on emergency borrowing. So Proposition U, oppose it. And all the rest are here. Follow us on Facebook, and I'll talk to you later after and answer more questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. Okay, Jeff, I'm going to leave it to go to you. You can. Anybody got questions on any of them? So we don't have to go down the hall.
So the list is pretty long. We have Vanessa here. She can help answer any of the questions you guys might have. The list is really long to go over it. I would like to just take questions about any particular one. Does anybody have any questions about any particular one? Or do you want us to go over each and every one? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about the use of the attorneys. I don't understand the whole issue.
Okay.
You want me to explain that?
Yes, that would be better.
Great, thank you. So the charter currently says that the city, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
That the city must appoint an attorney. The proposed change is that attorney can mean a single attorney or an entire firm. So there's an option. That's the whole change. Now, if you want to talk about good, bad, why, I'll talk to you about that. But again, I generally don't have a position on it.
How long did we have up until what time period did we have an attorney? When did we start using a firm?
I have no idea. I've been here 8 months. You've had a firm since I've been here, and
Okay, that's what I want to know.
yeah, and they quit. So
My position is we need an attorney, a city attorney. we've been having trouble with the flooding on Water Street, and several of you come to me. I think Vanessa was even at one of our meetings when he said, well, who takes care of Water Street? Is it the navigation district or the city? And I called down to talk to an attorney or get a city attorney, and I was told we don't have a city attorney, you have to hire one.
We do have a city attorney, we have an appointed city attorney, we always have to have an appointed city attorney. Whoever told you that was incorrect, and the city is responsible for Water Street. Oh,
Yes, that was actually a big concern when they were looking at, the county got a lot of money to do a lot of repairs along certain waterfronts, and unfortunately, Little Bay Shore, what's Broadway, and Water Street was not included in that grant to receive.
So if we want to go off of amendments, I can tell you a little bit about Water Street.
Well, can we?
I don't care, I'm here for whatever y'all got.
Okay, so but before you look at the amendments, I'd like to say this, and I asked to make sure I'm correct about this. The city asked their law firm to look at the charter before this process started. The law firm looked at the charter, and they found that the charter as it stands right now is okay. We are not in a place where if something doesn't pass, we can possibly be sued.
The only violation we have is that it had not been reviewed in the past 5 years. So basically what I explained to Jeff, and I appreciate him asking me because I didn't know that this was a concern. Even if something's written in the charter today, if it's against state law, I still can't do it. So it doesn't matter. Our charter matters, but I still can't break state law. So, you know, out of all of the amendments, if nothing passes, I'm gonna go back to work tomorrow and we're gonna keep doing what we're doing. We're gonna try to make it better. I know there's some of you that are very unhappy, but we try every day. We try every day, and that's what we're gonna continue doing even if nothing passes. So, and it's not personal. That's the other thing. This isn't emotional or personal. This is a recommendation.
And for somebody who's, you know, I, along with other people in here, signed the petition on the city hall, certain things like that. I mean, I've come up against the charter, but I don't see personally anything in this charter that I would like to change without the exception of maybe shifting elections to November, but that's just the personal, the current charter. There's nothing within the charter at this point that if it's not changed, it means that we can't govern efficiently. Yes, ma'am.
Can I add on to that? Because there is something I would change. And I want to say I advocated at all the meetings for change. Matt, I just want to say that when I was at the meetings, I advocated for change. And every Charter Review Commission meeting, we were given time to talk. They decided we could have 9 minutes. Thank you, Doug Webb. And we got 3 minutes and citizens to be heard. I advocated for some change that I think are really serious that needed to happen. And those were neglected. Specifically, if you look at the city of Portland and their financial, they have detailed requirements. I have a 1-page fund balance here. There's 6 fund balances. Once the city of Rockport adopts the budget, they can transfer money wherever they want within those funds. And there's no accountability coming back. We don't get to see it.
That's not true. It
is true. I have it on video. Now, and then the other thing that I would advocate for is section 6.15, that every single, there's two things. Every single petition should result in an election. And then the third thing is that citizens should be allowed to speak on every agenda item. That's the third thing that City Council deleted in Bastrop. They deleted the citizen amendment that I proposed. Jeff proposed it, and we got it passed by the commission, and City Council deleted that in Bastrop. We do not get to speak on agenda items. Thank you.
No, we don't.
So I'd like to make a comment about, so there's been some concern about two amendment items. And one is the fact of going from 2 years to 4. There's been a lot of opposition to that. And there's another one about doing away with term limits. And I was informed, doing away with the 10-year term limit. And I was informed by Vanessa that those were results of my comments to the commission. So if y'all are opposed to that and looking for somebody to blame, I am to blame, and I'm sorry. It was a long strategy, but
Oh, so
that
we
was
did
me.
accept some things from citizens.
Yeah. So the things that I have to be that I put forward was I asked to have the election moved to November. I thought that I was piggybacking off of somebody else's term limits in the 4 years, but and I'm going to take Vanessa's word on this. She said that I was the one who actually brought it up. So
On video.
if she's saying it's on video, that's why I'm not denying it. So those two things, and if y'all don't feel comfortable with that, and I explained to you my reasoning behind that, I would like to see our elections, city elections, moved to November. We had a huge turnout in 2020 when it was moved. We had a much lower turnout in 20. We had a huge turnout when it was moved to November. We had a really kind of a pretty small turnout considering all in 22, considering all the kind of the hoorah. And we remember it was also the bond election too, which I like to say things. I wish the school would also put out kind of signs about that there's an election coming up, because y'all did do that at the bond election. It'd be nice to do it this time too. So that was it. And my thing was I personally said, and I apologize because it got on. I said that I'd be willing to do away with term limits if we had. I meant to say, Vanessa says I said differently, but I meant to say if it goes to November and we can have the vote. So guilty as charged. I'm sorry, guys.
Can I ask one about something you left off this list?
Yes, sir.
You don't have to, nobody has to answer, but I would like to get clarification before the election. There was one of those. There was one of those that allows the county judge to take an action. The council or the charter gives the county judge the right to take an action, and it's unusual. And what came at that last forum was the statements that that's not part of the duties of a county judge. And what I have seen, it appears to me that if the charter, if the council chose, they could cede that right to the manager of Valero if they wanted to. It's got nothing to do, and I don't know.
I'll
But
tell you,
I
I'd
would,
love to answer it.
are you certain that that cannot be ceded to someone outside the council as a matter of law?
As a matter of law, yes, and I absolutely have this from our attorney. If he's wrong, I'll fire him, or not hire him again. But the county judge does not have jurisdiction in the city of Rockport. So council fails to call an election. The county judge comes in and says, I'm going to call an election. Council says, we don't care what the result is because you don't have jurisdiction here. The county can spend the money and take the time to take it to court, and they will lose. He does not have jurisdiction in the city.
All right, and I've got, but the reason that
Even if it's seated.
I'm going to do things that what you're saying is that the charter couldn't give that right to someone outside legally.
I don't think so.
If that's incorrect, it needs to be addressed. If that's not a matter of law, because it's bad optics that we get a new county judge and suddenly we're taking one of these things away from the county judge. So I really want to be sure if it's a matter of law, it's a matter of law.
How about I will have a solid answer by Monday afternoon, and I will email you 100%. Because if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
I'll accept it.
So
Yeah.
I don't
But
have. Go ahead.
my understanding is there is no jurisdiction, just like Jeff couldn't call an election. Even if the city council charter said,
out.
right, if the charter said Jeff Hutton can call an election, when it goes to court, he does not have standing.
So
He doesn't have that ability. I'll get you a solid answer. I'll email it to you because I know you'll reach all these people.
I'd like to talk about standing because I was part of 2 lawsuits against the county, and I lost standing on both times. And then I also looked at the lawsuit. Amarillo, a gentleman by Amarillo, sued the city of Amarillo for doing exactly what our county did. And
That's not right. The suit in Amarillo, they were sued for using the bonds not as they sold them for. We used the bonds as we were sold them
I'm talking about
for.
the county.
Same thing.
I'm talking about, but the argument was, because I read the case, but my argument was part of part of the argument in it was that part of the judge's argument was that it was part of the city charter, even though it wasn't in the state. So,
Step up.
oh, all right. That's all the questions you guys got on the charter. Oh, sorry, Mr. Webb would like to speak. Mr. Webb was great during the charter review. He really brought fresh ideas. And I personally appreciate him and his time.
Can I say something about Mr. Webb before he speaks? He fought for y'all, and he fought hard, and sometimes he fought alone. And I just would like for y'all to give him a round of applause. Because he did.
The last session, my other person that was really trying to represent the citizens of Rockport wasn't there. I lost 3-1 all the way through. Finally, there was a motion. German and I voted against that just to be consistent. The thing that I would like to talk about is there were 24 amendments, or whatever they were called, and 23 of them went to the voters. The one that did not go to the voters is one that I think is very important, and it is one that prevents or allows people to talk to the city council about each agenda item. Right now, the way the charter is, I can talk about something for 3 minutes at the very beginning of it, and then an hour later, the agenda item comes up. I can't say a word about it.
Yep.
Well, I can't very well address that agenda item very well in 3 minutes at the very beginning of the thing, because we need to know what it's about and have to be on course with everybody there. And they did not put that on the ballot. And what I wanted to ask the city council persons that were here earlier is, what is your position when we get a petition, which I believe is coming, it's presented to the city council? I think that their options are to accept the petition, put it on the ballot, or they can ignore it, which will result in a lawsuit. And I wanted their position on that and didn't get the answer. So that's, the number 24 is a very important thing. And we're not allowed to talk about it, or the citizens are not allowed to vote on it. However, I'm very certain that there's a petition coming. Thank you.
Along with the annexation, if my...
Okay, are we done with amendments?
Are we done with this kind of amendment? Annexation? This is a kind of amendment annexation. If my area comes up for de-annexation, and my council member, Danielle, is in that area, can she vote to have herself de-annexed?
I don't think so. I
Okay.
think there's a conflict.
There's a conflict, okay.
All right, we have, Katie is still here, Stephanie is still here. If you have any questions for, who did first?
No, he wants.
Oh, okay, tell my question.
If we're done with amendments, I'll answer questions on anything, but you want to go back to Water Street, I don't mind.
You said you had things to say.
Yeah, I can tell you a little bit more about it. So the issue that we have on Water Street, I know there's flooding, I know there's a lot of problems, but the homeowner on the west side of Water, right, is responsible for the water on the east side. And not all homeowners have chosen to take care of that. And so I can patch all day, but if you don't take care of your part of the water to keep the road from eroding, I'm throwing money away. And so what I would like to do, and y'all may disagree with this, you can tell me to go suck an egg, and I'm fine with that. I'd like to start finding grants to do more permanent water protection there, so that when we build the road, it makes sense.
What I never understood is why on the right-of-way itself, you couldn't put a bulkhead. The hell with their land that's past the right-of-way for the road, just let it wash away. You got a bulkhead on the road.
Well, a lot of the owners own the water in front of the, across the street.
But he's right,
I don't care
in
about
that we have a right-of-way there, and I think that's something we should look into. But if we put a bulkhead there, are we denying you use of your property? I don't know. There's a lot around it, but I think that's a really good idea for us to look into.
Mr.
Can't you put liens on for your work on their property? Not on that, no ma'am.
There is They're doing work right now in Fulton, and they have a lot of sand. If you have any neighbor who has land on the other side of that road, we can dump sand on the riprap and on that piece of land, but it can't be dumped into the water, and then it's affected by the GLO. So if y'all know anybody who is having problems down there, I can give you my phone number, because there's a lot. The contractor who's doing the Fulton job has a lot of dirt, and he doesn't know where to put it.
Has been tested.
Can we take it on our lawn?
I was told that there's no problem with it. I asked, the GLO said there's no problem. The county is okay with it. Yes.
Okay, but here's a little problem.
I forgot Tommy was here.
Damn it!
I used to be a greenie, but y'all turned me into one. So here's the deal. You look at the guy. I don't know how to describe it. There's 3 new houses there at the old Hunts Court. It's the guy that has been really re-nourishing his beach. If you look, all of the seagrass in front of his house is dead. And it's from all that sand going out into it. It's not a good idea. The GLO's for it, but it's not a good idea. And there's ways to do it. Yes, we should do it.
Okay, I think we're gonna have to take this at another meeting. The owners are going to bed.
There is one thing though, that people that own property on the water need to know, is once your land erodes, if new land is built up, it doesn't belong to you anymore. Once you lose it, it belongs to the state. If new land builds up.
I think there's I've heard that before, and I've also heard that people will turn you and say, yeah, we'll see you in court.
I can take you to the court cases, and it always goes against the landowner, with one exception, and that's because it had to do with oil rights, and there's an attorney out of Houston who beat it, that nobody else has ever done.
And I want to go back and have an answer. A city cannot cede its legislative function to anyone in any circumstance.
Okay.
That would do that.
Okay.
I'll stay here and answer questions if anybody has
Draw a
any.
number.
Can we give a big
Okay,
hand?
we are going to do our 50-50.
Can we give a big hand to at any of these events?
If y'all give me one of these shirts with this blue stripe, I'll come every month.
All right, you got
Let
it.
her draw the number, George. Let her.
All right, 50-50. It's a red ticket. The winner's gonna get $108.
Yes.
They're mean. They're mean to me. Have you heard this?
And the number is.
Hold on, George. For people out here with tickets. Hey, y'all do the 50-50.
Okay, the last 4 numbers are 6339. 6339. Where?
What is it?
All right, 6339. A red ticket.
Do you have any 6s?
It's $108.
Thank you guys for watching.
We'll try.